Lisa Frankenstein is a 2024 horror comedy directed by Zelda Williams, written by Diablo Cody, and stars Kathryn Newton and Cole Sprouse. Let's take a look. At the beginning of Lisa Frankenstein, we find Lisa in a cemetery spending time with the only people she actually likes spending time with, which is the dead. She's this bit of an outcast. She's just had a tragedy happen in her family, and she has a stepmom who is a bit of a jerk, and a stepsister that's actually very warm to her and tries to get her to come out of her shell. And in an effort to do that, she invites her to this party where she drinks something she wasn't supposed to, and then has this episode that causes her to actually tumble back into the cemetery, and that's where the story really starts to take off. A few days later, one of the corpses from one of the graves that she's been admiring goes to visit her at home, and we have this funny kind of slapstick scene where she thinks it's a zombie out to kill her, but it's clearly something else. And the two of them kind of form this relationship where they are dependent on each other, and she spends a good chunk of the movie trying to make him more alive, and in the process she kind of makes herself come more alive. The production quality is actually really good. The movie is not a big budget film, but you never get a sense that you're watching something that's made on the cheap. The costumes are retro. The movie actually takes place in 1989. I don't think that's a spoiler. And everything is of the period, and it has this polish to it that I was very surprised by. It in many ways reminded me a lot of Edward Scissorhands. Actually, when it comes to think about it, this movie is this amalgamation of Edward Scissorhands, True Romance, and Heathers, and if you put them all together, you get Lisa Frankenstein. And that recipe might not work for some people, and now that I think about it, that's 3 movies, 2 with Christian Slater and 2 with Winona Ryder, go figure. But it works, the tone of it works, and I found myself very much engaged with what was happening and how the characters were interacting with one another. Again, the relationship with Lisa and her sister, it's not a vicious or mean-spirited type of transformation that she wants her to go through. Being the cheerleader, being the popular girl, and being a step sibling, she kind of wants her to be not like her, but at least more like her, whether Lisa wants to go there or not. But it does create dramatic tension where Lisa wants to be who she is and kind of doesn't want anybody to interrupt her flow. The performances are really good. I really liked Kathryn Newton's performance here. She shows a lot of range from being kind of isolated and a bit of an introvert at the beginning of the film to opening up and being more alive and more present and more involved with her choices. It's a nice transformation. She goes from being a little bit timid and a little bit closed off to being more proactive. And while the movie's pace is a little bit on the slow side, this movie is, for the most part, a slow burn. So you're not going to get wall-to-wall action or wall-to-wall scares or wall-to-wall laughs. There are lots of pockets of silence in this, which again, if you're absorbed by the tone and absorbed by the performances, they won't necessarily bother you, but I can see how some people would be turned off by it. Like, not every movie, especially more modern movies, take their time with establishing not just how the characters are in terms of their personalities, but how they behave when there's nothing going around them. So the movie is a bit of a slow burn, and we do get to see the characters spend time by themselves and ponder. And in pondering, you kind of get more nuance as to who the characters really are. In terms of the directing, Zelda Williams' directing here is excellent. She does a lot with this material. She's created almost like a modern day Tim Burton film. If you take Tim Burton, George Romero, and John Waters and put them in a blender, you'll get her directing style, and it's very effective here. I liked watching this film. I liked seeing how it was shot. I did appreciate how, in terms of the cinematography, it wasn't very flashy. It was subtle. Like, you'll see some old school techniques used to show transitions, and there are a couple of scenes that play with the color palette that I won't really get into because I don't like doing spoilers. But Zelda Williams shows a lot of promise as a director, and I would love for her to do more large-scale directing. Like, I can see her totally take on like a big Marvel or DC project and do something unique with it. So there's a great future in Zelda Williams, a director. in the end, Lisa Frankenstein is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It does have a lot of macabre humor. It does have some moments that could possibly jump the shark in terms of what people are expecting from this type of a film. But again, it's so well done and so well acted, and the story is very warm in a way that I think you'll overall enjoy it. I would certainly classify this one as Cinentertaining. It's a great start for Zelda Williams' career as a director. I think this is her first feature film, and in terms of the acting, Cole Sprouse and Kathryn Newton are really, really good. So yeah, I'd certainly say give this one a shot. You know me, see it in the theater if you can. If you're a fan of Tim Burton in particular, I think you'll get this big feeling that the baton has been passed, and that quirky comedies like this, quirky macabre comedies like this, have a new shepherd in Zelda Williams. So yeah, certainly check it out, enjoy it. This is a fine time at the movies. Tomorrow I'll be reviewing The Polite Society, written and directed by Anita Manzoor, and starring Papri Kansara and Ritu Arya.
I'm sorry, okay? But I think we just need to iron out a couple of things in this household. Nina is going to be an artist, and I am going to be a stunt woman.
Ria, not that again. Please, John, please.
What?
Ria Khuda ke liye, can you just stop it with the stunt woman crap? I mean, you know, do you think your father sends you to that school for you to be a stunt woman?
Yes.
No.
Thanks again for watching my take on Lisa Frankenstein. Please do me a huge favor and like and subscribe. Also in the comment section, let me know if you got to see the movie and did it remind you of old school Tim Burton? Did it remind you of old school John Waters movies? Did it remind you of, you know, like the Romero zombie flicks? Yeah, just let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Again, my name's Edric Ortiz. This has been Cinema Bear, and I will see you guys for the next one. Take care.